list it?
He's gonna look into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, it's not listed. It's not public right now.
Good.
Brian, can you hear me? Brian.
You're up early.
Always up early.
I figured that out. Even since I'm retired, I wake up in 5 minutes. I had to get up and go to work.
Yeah, I still, I've never used a alarm clock ever. And I'm still at that same time where I wake up, no matter how late I stay up. Of course, my idea of staying up late at 9 o'clock. Plus, the phone call me. So what brings you to the big meetings today?
Basically, there's an item there for, Justin's gonna talk about the overlay. There's one meeting, my meeting's on,
Oh,
college hill.
oh, yeah, well, that is, we actually talked about the College Hill for last meeting a little bit.
Yeah.
And all this is just an update.
Yeah, right now it's just,
But yeah, that's on our, yeah,
it's all from one place, another.
that's, we actually, it's just an update for receipt and file. It's not a,
Everybody asks, well, what happens next? Really not sure. I know there's a process, and then we gotta get all together, but you never know what's gonna happen until it starts to happen.
you know, supposedly charged this.
He changed some fundamental stuff
I had
for YouTube, and so we want to make sure that
many years ago, I was involved in church. And I was around actually. And I was benevolent. That's what our church would even consider helping somebody until they became a member. Well, it's hard for them to become a member if this lady with 2 kids working her ass off with a tiny bit of money. I sit down with her. Let me tell what you make. Write down how much you rent. This. Then you look and you look at what you subtract what you each. And after you for all those numbers, I know everything's perfect. I get $20,000. Well, she went. I said, well, I'll come back 2 or 3 days. You think about it, we'll try to find a solution. And she found a solution. Her and her kids were in this office. And it's one of those things where we pay you $50 to clean the office, and she take the kids, they can have the track. So she get back in and everything is on this now. $50. Well, then I found out at that point, gas was major being turned off. And the church or a nonprofit organization was gas on the big time. And I said, we will pay the security deposit if and when she divorces. And then you'll pay $120. That's everything.
It was the old church about that. County church.
Well, they said, well, she's not a member. So I'll pay the $100.
But she is a member. Your member isn't with your congregation, it's with
No, the community.
the whole community.
Yeah, and at that point, it's maybe you even get her W-2s, anything like that. So I saw, I said, it's on, because I saw the house. It was behind it, go through the refrigerator, I had her cabinets. Her kids sitting over there, oh, she's sitting here. One of the hard member of her. But it was, one of those things is, unless you come to your knees, you can't take Jesus to you. And that's kind of, okay, they don't want the structures because where they can get to them.
Or John,
No. That's huge numbers here. Like you said, we have to reach their approach.
but until they address it, until they look at it,
Yeah.
you know, they're not gonna solve anything. And they're not gonna help anything.
Well, they'll have some good speeches. Well, I think I'll just check with Justin.
Yeah, we're actually looking at the College Hill overlay, agenda item here.
Okay. Now, anytime it says College Hill on there, people come, you go to that meeting. I get a raise for what I. Hey, how you doing? Good to see ya.
Pretty
So overall, no, major changes to what you initially
Well,
thought.
they're gonna be a little more visual damage on the internet. Where you going? Yeah, what's the address? Kick out an address. You probably know that.
It's early, it was nice that I'm on a bike, so I don't have
Oh,
a
yeah.
car, and I'm just gonna get in and get out.
Yeah, they kind of want small stuff. They said, well, they're there, maybe you suggest we. What you guys did, you're down the third street area. Hey, guys, that's right, drop that. Set up a time, date. This is something. This is an event that happens in college. This is not a convention.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
It happens, and it's happening. You know how it was.
Yep.
12
Yeah, exactly.
I've done this.
A couple of photos of Jack,
What
just
about
standing here,
well,
standing around at the.
It's at the meeting, they came to.
Yeah, okay,
And so, guttering,
cool.
all the
We're good,
screen.
glad it went well.
I signed when I was out there with my time. Around.
Yeah, your media training is fine.
Yes.
Well done.
Well, we got stuff growing on that road. It said, oh, we took some pictures. Looked like a checkerboard. Closest to the black people. They weren't little ones, I first like that.
Scott's family picture. Especially the inside.
Yeah, this is.
Training Valley.
And then, my neighbor, she's funny, I was valley stuff, and I'm like, 2,700 vehicles under the ground, everything's going south, it's really bad. And all the roads and all the facilities, all the property.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And they're just getting,
Okay. What about you?
I had sounds like those guys going, I got a picture of snow.
About what? Well, I'll prove it to myself occasionally. Yeah, fairly. But it was okay. Really? You guys? Just like roof damage. Right, right.
Thank you.
I'm Raquel. Yes. It's all right.
You are?
Hey,
One time. You did your steps for the day, Sam. You did your steps for the day, Sam. I walked up.
Recording in progress.
Sounds like you're on the right track.
Friday.
Got 30 seconds.
I'm gonna start running.
Oh, he's got, well, you're right, he doesn't have very long. The important ones are here.
And Chairman Aldridge, I have a quorum, 4 members present and a couple absences. I'll note that in the minutes.
Thank you. Next item is the meeting summary approval. I show that Commissioner Fry, Miles, and Nix was absent the last time. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
And we have, all in favor signify by saying aye. And same sign for those who do not. Next item is the public notification for the city. The recommended action on this is to approve by the, move forward to the MAPC. It just didn't come out right.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Momita from Planning, and I'll be presenting the Unified Zoning Code update to public zoning notification letters. Next slide, please. The staff report distributed today identifies this as an action item recommending approval of the proposed update to the Unified Zoning Code to the full MAPC. But since the Advanced Plan Committee will be reviewing this item after a considerable amount of time, you may choose to not take any action at this meeting, and we'll be glad to bring it back to this committee in the next meeting as well. So that's an option for you today. Next slide, please. So I'll go ahead and give you an overview of the background of this case. Next slide, please. There has been an interest expressed to look into the public notification related to the zoning cases. The interest came up around 2022 and has been, these are the ways that it came up initially, and it has been in discussion on and off from then. Next slide, please. The planning staff have responded to the public interest and explored the topic with the Advanced Plan Committee from September 2022 through February 2023. In July 2023, the Planning Department staff presented that information to the Wichita City Council workshop for further direction. After working on several aspects of public notification, in February through April 2024, the staff conducted presentations and discussions with all the 6 DABs. In November 2024, Planning Department staff went back to the Wichita City Council workshop again with the update on the feedbacks received from the 6 DAB meetings to identify preferred next steps. The council members reached a consensus to have public notification sent to the actual property in addition to the property owner's mailing address if they are different. On August 19th, 2025, staff briefed the proposed changes to the public notification at the Board of County Commissioners staff meeting. And we are here presenting at the MAPC Advanced Plan Committee today after a while. Next slide, please. As a part of the research, the MAPD staff reached out to 19 communities in Kansas and neighboring states to learn more about their zoning case notification practices. All 19 cities contacted have indicated that mailed notices are sent exclusively to the property owners. Next slide, please. The American Planning Association's zoning practice published in May 2024 encourages municipalities to consider policies that also inform renters and other occupants, particularly in areas with high tenant populations. The APA notes that while such changes can increase the mailing volumes and associated costs, they are important steps towards improving the procedural equity and community engagement. Next slide, please. Let's look into the current practice for the public notification in City of Wichita. Next slide, please. So there are a variety of ways that people can receive notification about zoning cases. Some of those are required and others not. This is a brief overview of them. People receive MAPC public notices are published in the newspaper as per required by the Kansas State Statute and Unified Zoning Code. Constant contact emails are sent as a practice. Development application yard signs are posted on the site as an MAPC policy. Zoning notification letters are sent as per required by the Kansas State Statute, and Planning Department webpage is also updated with the information. But in today's meeting, we would be specifically looking into the zoning notification letters and specifically into the recipients of the zoning notification letters. Next slide, please. Zoning case notification letters are required to be sent to the property owners within the notification area as per the Kansas State Statute. The purpose is to notify the nearby property owners of the zoning cases. Next slide, please. This is the current list of recipients of the public notification letters for the zoning cases. The property owners within a notification area in City of Wichita, the notification area ranges from 200 feet to 1,000 feet, depending on the acreage of the site. It's also sent, notification letters are also sent to the registered HOA and registered neighborhood associations as courtesy. Next slide, please. The MAPD zoning application form requires the applicant to purchase a certified ownership list of all the properties within the notification area from the title company. Next slide, please. As an overwhelming majority of the certified list are coming from the Security First title company, the staff reached out to the Security First title company to know more about their costing. And the Security First informed that the applicant has to buy at least a minimum of 10 addresses, and it's $18 per property, which is the existing cost of the ownership list. The planning department incurs a cost of $2.64 per notification, and this includes the labor, postage, paper, envelope, and such costs. Next slide, please. Let's get to the proposed updates to the zoning notification letters. Next slide. Staff is recommending changes to the Unified Zoning Code to require additional public notification to be sent to the property address if it's different from the owner's mailing address. You can see the one highlighted in green in the list. And to note that this proposed change is limited to mailing to the physical address and does not require staff to identify or contact individual tenants within a property. For an example, if there are multiple units, only one single notice would be sent to the site address. This update would achieve a more equitable process while balancing the administrative and cost considerations. Next slide, please. According to the information received from the Security First Title Company, this proposed change would add $5 per property to the cost of the ownership list. As you can see, there's a sample ownership list in this slide, and it has two separate columns for the property address and the property owner mailing address. As seen in this sample list, the title company would also state if both of them are same, like this one here on the slide. It states that the property address is same as the mailing address of the property owner. And the planning department cost per notification remains the same as $2.64. Next slide, please. Here is a cost analysis of the existing process and the proposed update to the public notification. It's based on the median number of notification letters sent per case in the city in 2024. As you can see, the notification cost for applicants per address currently is $18. And with the proposed change, it would be $23, adding $5 per address. And the median number of notification letters sent per case in 2024 was 20. So the total cost of example notification to the app for application, example notification cost for applicants per application in city would No, not for the county at this point.
Okay, at this,
It's only to the city.
because I noticed when you're looking at, the workshops and everything else, even there's a bullet point here says that multiple elected officials indicate support for distributing notice letters to their property tenants as well as property owners. But it was only just a slight briefing at a workshop at the county commissioners, and there was going to be a follow-up on that. So we're still waiting for that follow-up. But the point is that not only is this going, to affect city of Wichita, eventually you can pretty much bet it's going to wind up in the county too. So I would think that they, especially with the trends that we're seeing with some of the other things that are coming up, whether it's event centers in the county or short-term rentals or whatever, it's, it originated with the city and it's moving over. My concern on this, especially as a property owner, and I do have some rentals, that I don't want my personal information or my business information going to my tenant or my renters. There's a need to know and there's a right to know, and I just don't think that they have a need or a right to know what's going on in my business decisions. So that's just my own opinion. And, so those are some flags right there that I'd like to hear a little more conversation about, not only from our Wichita local officials, elected officials, but also in the county too. That's all my concerns that I have on that. And right now you're asking us to take this and move it forward. I like the next option about deferring it, but that's, again, that's just me. I think we got a whole other individuals here that, need to chime in too. But those are some of my concerns on that.
Sure, thank you.
Does anyone else, Commissioner Miles?
So I know that this quote was received from Security First. Are there other title companies that provide these types of lists, and are the costs assumed to be the same?
There are other title companies in town. We haven't reached out to them, but I would assume it would be similar to that. But the majority, okay, Scott, go ahead.
If I could, I would also add that in talking with current plan staff and admin staff here in the planning department, it sounds like this title company is the one that does the overwhelming majority of lists for folks. There are others, but this one does the majority.
Commissioner Warren?
A couple things. You said that there's a minimum of 20 letters need to go out. What do we do? What do we do if we have 15 properties in a 1,000-foot radius? We just pick somebody that we send notices to that's outside of that, or what do we do?
So the applicant is required to purchase at least 10, pay $175 initially for at least 10 addresses. Even if they don't have 10 addresses in the notification area, they would have to buy it from the title company as the initial cost. But after that, for any additional addresses the letters are sent to, currently it's $18 per address.
And I would also add, sir, that the number 20 is actually, we were trying to come up with a realistic number to give you a financial analysis of what this is going to typically, what the financial impacts will typically be. We didn't want to look at an average because we have some cases like Town East or some others that are very large and have huge notification areas. We also have some very small cases that don't really get much in terms of notification. So we went with the median. And so the median number from 2024 was 20 addresses. So we use that as our example, knowing that, of course, if there's a case that has more properties to notify, the numbers will be higher. Likewise, if it's got smaller, fewer properties to notify, the numbers will be less.
And my other question was, it's our responsibility to make sure that what we come up with is fair and equitable for everybody in the general public. My question is to you guys, is you have to deal with the nuts and bolts of putting it together. Is this doable for you? Are you in agreement with all of the proposals as to how it's going to affect you guys doing your job?
Yeah, in terms of how it will affect staff, I'm excited and interested to see that the title companies, Momita, if we could go back to the slide with the table that shows the addresses. And one more, there we go. I'm very interested and excited to see that in the property address, they were able to put a statement that it's the same as the mailing address. Because what I don't want to have is I don't want to have staff trying to figure out if the addresses are the same where the property is and where the owner's mailing address. Because the more things that we have to do, the more chances for errors. So I'm glad that the title company is providing that analysis as part of this.
One of the other, this, I guess, has come up with a council member back in 22. I guess my question is why? Why are we doing this? Was there an issue? Was there false notifications for the property owner? What actually generated this to get it to this point?
I think this has been a kind of a long-standing community conversation that takes place mostly at the DABs, because what happens is that folks have shown up at the DABs in the past and said, hey, I live right next door, but I've not gotten a letter. And it turns out that that person is a tenant who is living there as opposed to the owner, so they would not have received the letter. And so I think the DABs, after hearing this, for a number of years, I think the council members who are present at those DAB meetings have brought this question forward and really asked questions about the notification, which has led to the conversations which ultimately have produced this draft.
Yeah, I still have concerns about, basically certain rights of the property owners compared to tenants. I've got concerns over that. Commissioner McKay?
First thing is, you've handed us this and said, this is the presentation. It's the first time I've seen it. If you want us to recommend to the full body, and they haven't seen it before I have. So, I can't vote to move this on to be before the full commission until they've had the same opportunity. And I'd like to go through and read this, because I've been involved in this notification thing for a long time. It's been a hard process, because I look at it from this: if you got 4 properties that you're doing within the notification area, they'll show up if they got a problem. But then what happens? Somebody's tenant, what rights do they have to say you can't do this with this property? Even though they live there, it's not their property, it's not their investment, it's not their own. Their own, not their home, their own. So I'm having a real problem, different than what Bob's having, because of that situation. So I cannot vote to send this on to the full planning commission until it's distributed to them, let them look at it too. And I'm having a real problem with DAB starting to tell us how to do things in our business, because they're an advisory to the council member, and that's it.
If I could, I would offer, I just want to emphasize, we're very sensitive to the idea that you often get materials and are asked to vote on, take action on those at the first meeting. We've heard you loud and clear that you like to have 2 times at least to see it. And so we brought this one to you knowing that you likely would want to have another meeting to review it, but we always want to give you the option to take action on it the first time you see it, if you choose to. But we hear you loud and clear about having the second meeting and the opportunity to kind of review it more thoroughly.
Well, Scott, can you have copies of this ready for this afternoon's meeting?
So certainly, we can certainly do that. And then maybe at the end of the agenda where other business is, there'd be an opportunity to describe what the conversation has been so far and why they're getting the copies.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, I know we've discussed this at length a number of times over the years, and I don't see how it's going to save you guys any time or effort, period. It's going to add to it, in my opinion. So if you're doing it for financial reasons, that's not a very good, in my opinion, not a very good deal, because it's not going to save you time or money.
I would agree. There is more time and effort that's involved in it. The costs are, $2.64 for us, and just a little bit extra labor in terms of identifying the additional addresses that we need to send it to. So yes, do want to acknowledge that that is exactly it. And also, you've kind of hit the crux of the issue. There's multiple things to this that make it a really tricky issue, in my opinion. And one of them is cost and efficiency versus public information and participation, and how do you balance those? And who gets the notice, who doesn't? These are all very difficult issues, and so I appreciate that we have you as the Advanced Plans Committee to help kind of work through these.
Well, it seems to me you've got a push from the elected bodies, and then you've got, concerns with the committees, if you will, like the planning commission, is, what is the best way, the process and everything else, and to address those concerns. I don't think this is ready at this point. So I'm going to request that we defer this. But now my question is going to come up: for how long, and what are we going to get out of it by just deferring it? I mean, how are we going to have those discussions before it pops up here again?
So what I could offer is that if you defer it to your October meeting, that would be on October 9th. That would be roughly 4 weeks until that meeting. That would be additional time for members of this committee to review it, also for members of the MAPC to review it. Also, in that period of time, there will be an MAPC meeting after today. So 2 weeks from now, there'll be an MAPC meeting. That would be an opportunity to perhaps see if there's any additional feedback at the end of that meeting. And then, in addition to that, there would also be time for the county to perhaps the next thing on their kind of to-do list was they indicated that they would like to have another staff meeting to talk of a number of topics, and maybe we'll see that get scheduled or at least put on the calendar in between now and the next advanced plans meeting.
Because I know when I was at that county commission meeting, workshop, that this, when this come up as basically a heads up, receive and file, there was an indication by the chair that he wanted to have additional conversations on that. And he also mentioned he'd like to have a couple of the members from the advanced plans attend that too. So that tells me that maybe we need to look at deferring this until after that has occurred to get additional feedback, and that could be a couple of months away.
Yeah, if you'd like, you can certainly do that. We always encourage for a date certain. That way our staff members know.
That's what I'm fishing for here.
If you did want to go out 2 meetings, and that would put us at November 13th.
And do you think by then the county commission will have an opportunity to review this?
I know that September has been a little bit challenging because they've had some meetings get canceled, which tells me that they've got some schedule conflicts that have come up, possibly. And so that would give them then September and October, which we're also working through, as we'll provide an update on one of the other items, the event centers in the county. There's some enforcement issues that we're working through in terms of how it operationalizes. So that would give us time to work through that also. So, and because we anticipate that both of those items would be on a county staff meeting or workshop.
Okay.
Let me ask you one question. How much problem or trouble is it? Quite frankly, the commission, this commission, city commission, county commission, they're not going to read this saying, you guys are the only ones who knows what's basically in it. You know? And is there any way that you could go through and say, all right, page so-and-so, article so-and-so, this is the change that we've made from the original. Break it down so that instead of having to go through the whole thing and why it was done that way. Because, you know, there's not, I don't think, outside the notification thing, the way I understand it is, it's just whether you're a renter or owner.
Yes, absolutely. And what we should have done was really, in hindsight, realizing now that you all always, and I appreciate this, you always like to go through it and look at the details. So flipping through page by page takes time, but I think it's a very worthwhile process. On this one, it's relatively simple. And unfortunately, we don't have page numbers, but there is one page in your packet that has yellow highlighted text. That is the section that actually changes. And it's and I'll read it out to you. Well, I'll give folks a chance to look for it. So, and I believe we've got a clean copy here.
Also,
Mr.
for us old guys, I'm having a tough time reading it.
Okay, well, I will read it to you in just a moment. Let me make sure we don't have another section that's highlighted, but I think this is. So there's 2 sections. There's one that's a clean version, and we attached a markup version, correct, Momita?
Yes.
Okay, so the marked up version is going to have red text in it, yellow highlights. The other clean version will just have yellow highlights. So you can use either one. I'll go ahead and read off what the change is to you.
And that's under written notice, correct?
Correct, under written notice. So I'm going to start a sentence before. So in addition, it is the intent of this code to give advisory notifications to such persons as shall be And then the current text says specified by the Planning Commission policy. Because if you remember, there is a Planning Commission policy for City of Wichita cases about how far out the notification goes and to whom it goes. So this actually would remove that reference to the Planning Commission policy because this would be updated in the Unified Zoning Code text. So we take that section out, or that language out, and then it says indicated, so it was the additional persons as shall be indicated on the application forms, provided that such advisory notification areas shall not be used in the calculation for protests according to, and this is the protest procedures. So, period. The next sentence is, and this is new text that gets added, in the city only, such advisory notifications shall also include a notice mailed to any protest property, to any property where the address of the owner of record is not the same as the address of the property required to receive the notice as specified in this section. So what that is saying is that anytime that in the notification area, there's a property where the owner's address is different than that property, that property shall receive a notice. So period after that, and then the written notice herein shall be placed in the mail and postmarked not less than 20 days prior to the date of this public hearing. So it's a lot of text that's all attached to this, but that's the change in order to carry out what's been described in the PowerPoint.
Did you not put in here during the presentation, I heard that if you got an apartment project, you only send one notice to, you don't send it to all of them?
Yeah, that's why
So how does that just say the opposite of what you just got through reading?
No, we were very intentional on this one, and good question. So in the yellow highlight, it says, such advisory notification shall also include a notice mailed to any property where the address of the owner of record is not the same as the address of the property required to receive the notice. So we are simply indicating that we're going to mail a notice to the property because reflecting that issue of if it's an apartment building, we don't know how many units are there. We don't know what the units numbers are. We don't know how to get it there, but we can at least send one to that property so the manager can post it. Condominiums.
It would go to management of the property.
Exactly.
Provided they
Condominiums.
live on site.
Well,
No.
yeah, exactly. Or it would go to the office, or it would just go to the property. But whoever's collecting the mail, at some point is going to review this thing, is the thinking. Now, condominiums are different because each one of those is considered a property, and by the county parcel data, we know the owner and we know the address. So that's going to show up in the title work, in the title company's work.
So I have an apartment project of 10 units. And I get the notice through my manager, whoever's done, and I'm not in favor of it, but my tenants are, so where are we at?
Well, first off, you would have no obligation to share the information about that notice with the tenants.
If that's gonna happen, 10 units together in one building, you gotta be kidding.
And in terms of, if you're at disagreement with your tenants or you have different opinions about what should happen with a particular case, all that plays out at the DAB meetings and the MAPC communications with the elected officials. Yeah, it becomes part of the public discourse.
I kind of wish you'd quit saying whatever the DABs want, and what we want is commissioners that are duly appointed. And the DABs are, again, not making policy, even though they are, let's put it that way. I'm having a real problem with that.
Well, I'll try to refrain from referencing to the DABs anymore in the conversation then.
Well, anyway, we're at that point right now. I think we need to look at making a decision. I definitely think that we need to, first of all, make sure that we have current copies of this to all the commissioners at today's meeting and give them an opportunity to look at it and review it. But I do think we need to defer this. My thought right now is to the November 13th meeting. But is there any additional comments? Commissioner Warren, do you have anything you want to add?
A question is, who all has been involved in this or has seen this at this point? And like the home builders, have they seen this with giving any input on it?
So to this point, it has been to the city council a couple of times, multiple times, as a workshop discussion item. It also, based on their feedback, this item was then sent to to their advisory boards, the district advisory boards. And so those have been the two sources of feedback and input so far. So no, it's not been to the Wichita Area Builders Association.
Okay, and I don't know if the realtors do they have a landlords association or anything through the Wichita Realtors Association, or is there any other?
They do have a realtors association, but I don't know what.
I don't know if they have
They
any
probably have
Yeah.
some type of subcommittee.
Yeah.
subcommittee that deals with landlords.
Yeah.
I'm happy to ask staff maybe to do some more research to see if we can find one, if you think that collecting input from them would be valuable or helpful for your evaluation.
Knowing what, who's going to be the ones that will be looking at this thing, it needs to be done. I agree. I don't feel like the tenants need to know this, need to be involved with this because they're not the owners. So.
So just to follow up on that, would you like for staff to reach out to see if we can schedule a presentation with, if there is an association of landlords, or should we hold off?
I'd be curious to know some of that input there, because I think they would, what it would affect them. Does it have anything to do with their business aspect of it all? I'm not sure. I'm not in tune to what's going on with the realtors on that. But that'd be curious, because I mean, if you're going to go the district advisory boards that are there to advise, their elected council members, the realtors, they definitely have a stakeholder in in our community too. So that's a good question.
To answer your question, I'm not recommending that. I just didn't know if there was an outfit like that would have answers. I don't need to go looking for.
Yeah, and
Looking for trouble.
we can find a bunch. I mean, you got Weba and everybody else out there too. So, but I think we need to look at deferring this, and I'm going to recommend or ask the commission that we support a deferral to the 11th or November 13th. Excuse me.
Second.
Can I
Yeah.
add to it?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have the notification to our board members of what we're talking about. What you just did to us, read this stuff to us and everything, say, these are the important pages, and go to the trouble of doing the marking, because I would have missed that if it hadn't been marked.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're supposed to be looking for, because you're not changing the whole thing. And I hate to keep hanging my hat on this, but you're saying, well, we're going to take whatever the district advisory boards want, and that's what we're going to do. The planning commission don't really have a hell of a lot to say with what's going on. I mean, you hand this to us, say approve it and send it on to your people, and then we'll go on and send it to the city, and the city's already seen it, whether they've read it in detail, which I doubt if they have.
So far, we've heard the feedback from the DABs, but that feedback's actually been communicated not just to us, but probably more of it to the council members. The council members are the ones who have asked for this item to come up and be presented to them. We've done that. And then out of that, there were a series of things that they were considering, and they've selected this one as the priority one to move forward. And so that's why this one is coming to you. And so this really is the Planning Commission's opportunity to kind of dig into it and figure out whether or not it's a good fit. So we're going through that process right now, and I appreciate your comments and deliberations on it.
Well, that's just it. You sort of touch bases a little bit, just because, probably get in trouble for saying this, but just because the city commissioners, council members would like to do something, they're trying to take care of their constituents and stuff. It seems like the planning commissions are the ones that's gotta, weed through the mud and everything, try to figure out is it a good fit or not for that. So, I think that we should, we got an impact on our voice and our concerns here, not saying that the community doesn't, but we're the ones that's got to sort out through everything. So, along with the assistance from staff.
I just think it's important enough that we don't rush through it, go through it and let everybody have a say. And what Chuck was saying a while ago, you may be opening Pandora's box, but there's, especially the realtors, there's also an apartment organization in Wichita and home builders, and they're all property owners. Just because what you're talking about, you're only talking about one or two people in those organizations that you can sit down and work out with. They would wholeheartedly appreciate it, I guarantee you. Little prevention is a lot worse, a lot better than a whole lot of cure.
Well, there is a ripple effect when something comes up. That's why I'm saying why. What was the purpose? What are they trying to solve, or what are they trying to create? And now you look at after the ripple effect here, how many different organizations and groups and people and everything else it's going to affect. So we have a motion and a second for a deferment to November 13th for reasons stated. I'm going to call a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion.
You're going to add the distribution of this to go to the full planning commission.
Yes, I did that with one of our discussions in the motion. Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Midtown Neighborhood Plan. This is a receive and file. Mr. Justin?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Justin Constantino with the Planning Department to give a brief update on the Midtown Neighborhood Plan. You may recall back on May 8th, the city of Wichita released a request for proposals for a new Midtown Neighborhood Plan in 2025. We were seeking qualified consultants to help us lead the planning process. The deadline for submissions was June 27th. We did receive 3 submissions. And on August 12th, we had our 9-member selection committee consisting of representatives from the Midtown neighborhood, the City Council, Board of County Commissioners, and city and county staff members review those 3 proposals. The general consensus of the selection committee was to interview 2 candidates for the Midtown Neighborhood Plan project. The selection committee will actually reconvene on September 17th, so next Wednesday, to interview the 2 candidates. Additionally, while that process is going on, staff has created and will post the application to serve on the Midtown Neighborhood Steering Committee. This is the group that will be involved in helping shape the plan once a consultant is selected. So we will be releasing that application in the coming days. Once the application is posted, it will be posted for about 3 weeks, and we will get that posted on the city websites as well as all of our social media pages, and we will be sending out notifications about that application through our constant contact email newsletters. That is all I have regarding the update on the Midtown Neighborhood Plan, and I'll stand for any questions.
Yep, Justin, just to confirm, Commissioner Mader is the commissioner that's been appointed to that.
Yes, sir, that is correct. Commissioner Mader is on the selection committee.
Okay, good, thank you. Commissioner Warren, you got any questions? It's just us.
I'm good.
Thanks for your update. Since this is a receive and file, we don't have to be, there's no motions that we have to make on it, so.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're the new chairman, so that needs to be.
Yeah, appreciate you volunteering for that. Next item we have is the updates from the Metropolitan Planning Department. Mr. Wadle?
Sure thing. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'll just take you through the handout as we typically do. So page one's just the table of contents. Page two, the typical data that we see here, we've got the non-subdivision cases at MAPC. As you all know, you've been busy. Staff have been busy too. And so right now we're sitting at about 204 cases through September. We still have the last quarter to go. So I expect that we'll end with some pretty high annual numbers. Right now at the bottom of the page, there's that table and you'll see there's one column that says 2025 estimated. We are estimating, if everything just kind of linear kind of estimate here, at 258 cases for the year, which would put us at the second highest since we've been keeping track on this. So next page then is page 3, and you can see it's been pretty spiky. We've had 2 or 3 meetings where, actually 4, where we've had 15, 16, 17, that amount of cases. We've also had some good lulls, which has been really good for staff. I start to get worried if we have really high number of cases for 2 or 3 meetings in a row. So we've been fortunate there, and do want to commend advanced plan staff because they've really been a big help in fielding some of those additional cases that we've gotten. So then bottom of page 3, always keeping an eye on the number of cases and how they're doing relative to our staffing ability to cover those. We have been running pretty hot. You can see all those yellow boxes. It indicates that we've got more cases than we have regular staff capacity. But we've been fortunate in that many of the cases that are coming in have been fairly simple in terms of the volume. We do have some that are quite tricky, but when we get high numbers, we're typically seeing a lot of accessory apartments and other cases which are not as intensive for staff to review. Next page, page 4, subdivision cases. Right now we're sitting at 54. The number of lots you can see there is about 1,600. And in terms of the division of city and county, we've seen a lot more of them be from the county. In terms of analysis on these, first off, city and county, we're always, almost every year, we're going to see county cases being highest when it comes to plats, just because people like to plat the properties usually before they annex, or at least get that process going while they're in the county. The number of lots, we've talked about that before. It looks like it's been less than what we've seen in recent years. I think that's because development, people are chewing through the lots that they've already gotten platted. On page 5, there's the table with our estimate. We think we're going to finish somewhere around 69 cases, which is somewhere in the middle of the pack in terms of number of the years and number of cases per year. Bottom of page 5, we've got the graph showing that we've had some real spiky meetings with quite a few, but that recently it's kind of been it's been a comfortable amount for folks, which has allowed us to catch up on some other things. On page 6, this is administrative adjustments. We're still working through this one, and hats off to Raquel for digging through this information and pulling this together. You can see the different ones that we have been approved or considered. I don't believe any of them have been denied recently, 1 through 11. And what we're going to do is I'd like to see if we can make some changes for next month to try and categorize these so that you'll know whether it was for a sign, is it for a setback, and try and give you some numbers in some broad categories. On to page 7, staffing capacity. It's very much the same as what it was last month. So we still have the part-time position that's in zoning enforcement for STRs, and we have the 1 position in advanced plans that is still frozen. Page 8, we get into public contacts, and you'll see that in August, it looks like our website hits has been relatively steady for most of this year. And in August, it was kind of interesting because short-term rentals really jumped up there into our top 5. And you'll see that in the bottom right-hand corner of that page. So usually we've got ones on about cases and how to find information about cases. But about every month we see something unique kind of jump into one of those last 2 slots, and that's what we saw this time. Page 9, short-term rentals in the city of Wichita. We're chugging away at that. Our case numbers are fairly steady. And I believe, though, we did see a recent increase in the number of short-term rentals that are operating. So it looks like maybe some more people getting into the market right now, but we'll see. Usually that kind of stabilizes through the rest of the year. But steady in terms of number of zoning cases and licensing so far. And we're just working to fill that part-time position. So that's been an interesting project to work through. Page 10, short-term rentals in the county. Next step on that one will be to have that staff meeting and talk through the details. We got some good feedback from the last staff meeting, and the feedback I kind of took away from it was that we appear to be on the right track in general. There wasn't anything that really seemed to cause substantial heartburn, but it's always in the details is where the conversations really happen. So we'll see as we get some more time to go through that with them. Page 11, solar energy conversion systems. Two things to note on here. Number one, we're going to have some more discussions with the city and see if the city would be comfortable moving forward, adopting the amendments that the county approved. I believe that was last year. And then the second part of that is that there was the change to the urban growth area down south. And so we're just kind of looking to see for the city of Wichita. So we're looking to see how that kind of shakes out over time. So haven't seen any changes or notifications in that area. Page 12, public notification city. We covered that one today. So that was good discussion. And thank you as always for going through that with us and giving us your insights and feedback. 13, development signs. That's been implemented in the county. So we're working through that. At each of our monthly meetings with staff, with the entire department, we go through projects that we're working on and things that are being implemented. And that's one that we covered last month. Page 14, event centers in the county. Next step is to again, have another staff meeting with the county commission. Again, I think on this one, we received some really good feedback. But I guess I do need to highlight that with this one, we did get a staff team together and we're talking through this with the sheriff, MABCD, and planning staff. One thing that came to light is the challenge of if an event is happening at a property, how does the sheriff shut it down immediately? And what are the consequences for doing one of these illegally, and how can you get resolution so that the neighbors aren't having to put up with this noise for hours and hours and hours? So that is something that we're working through with county legal and what that process looks like. They have that in the city, but the question is what's a good fit for the county? And so we're exploring that with them right now. And then the next one, page 15, College Hill overlay. Justin, I'll defer to you if there's anything you want to mention on that one.
Yeah, we are getting a staff team together with made up of planning staff as well as MABCD staff to review potential items to go into the neighborhood overlay portion of the plan prior to scheduling our next meeting with the College Hill Steering Committee.
So moving along on that one, we keep making progress on it. Page 16 and page 17, one's parking and zoning and the other one's comprehensive plan. We've got we had the application form posted and did receive applications. Justin, do you want to provide any updates on that one?
Yeah, applications for both of these closed on September 8th. We did receive 36 applications, which is fantastic. We received those numbers from the city clerk yesterday afternoon. So we haven't had a chance to break down the makeup or what organizations these individuals represent, but we are very pleased with the number of applications we received at 36.
And you're looking to have 11?
Approximately 11 to 15 steering committee members will be selected.
And that would be reviewed by both the city council members the mayor and also the chair of the county commission.
Correct.
And that takes us to page 18, daycares and zoning. This item was considered by the county commission yesterday, and they approved that. And then it is scheduled to be on the city council agenda for next week as a consent item. And the reason why it's consent is because they have previously approved the changes that would apply to the zoning districts that are most commonly found in the city of Wichita. After they did that, we were taking it to the county, and the county said, hey, we think this is a good fit for the county as well. So what the county approved yesterday was what the city of Wichita had, plus the additional zoning districts that are commonly found in the county, rural residential, SF20. So then we've put it on consent for the city council because it simply is adopting that additional rural residential and SF20 and other really county zoning districts. So, so that'll wrap that one up tomorrow.
Thank you, Commissioner Miles.
So I have a question, and it's not on this list. But I have not heard anything for a long time regarding land bank. Where is the land bank at, and how's the land bank doing?
Oh, excellent question. So I think there's been there's quite a bit to report back. I'm not sure that I'm the best person to do that. We could, if you'd like, and if you talk with the chair, there's a possibility of adding that to a future agenda. But what I do know is that the land bank was formed. They did have a board that was appointed to it. I believe that they were able to acquire maybe 1 or 2 properties, but that there had not been a substantial amount of activity. I think there has been quite a bit of discussion between the city and the county about the ability to acquire properties that had gone to tax sale. And what the land bank was looking for was the ability to have a special opportunity ahead of the tax sale to be able to acquire properties. I believe that the county had an interpretation that said that was not something that was perhaps feasible or maybe desired. So there were some discussions that were going on between that. I don't believe, again, I think it's just the 2 properties at this point.
Scott, on short-term rentals, your report shows that there was approximately 300 permits that were sent in, 280 of them were approved. And initially, I think we were given there was over 500 illegal operations going on out there as far as short-term rentals. Is that number still extremely high? I guess what I'm saying, it looks like we probably whittled that down from the 500 plus down to approximately 50% of that is now permitted, but we're still probably have 250 or so that are not permitted. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah, no, great question. So there's always a lot of fluctuation in the short-term rental market. There's always properties that are coming online and people are deciding to open up short-term rentals. And then there are people who are leaving the market and no longer offering their house. So you're going to see some churn automatically from that. And so if it's a new property, we're not necessarily going to have the zoning or the licensing for it. So once we find out about that, we'll send them a letter and we'll start getting notifications that, hey, you need to get this taken care of. So part of that some of that accounts for what's going on there. And then it's a matter of, are they active? Have they added? The other thing that's happened too is that we have had properties that do not go through the process to get the zoning or get the licensing. It's not a significant number. I think we're talking 20, maybe 30 properties overall. And they have gone through, we have sent them enough letters and notifications. They are going through the enforcement process. A number of those cases have actually gone to court. The owners have pled on those. The majority of them, the owners have pled. I think there's only 2 maybe that have contested it. And I know one of them was found guilty. So we're working through on the enforcement side. In terms of the other numbers, so that accounts for, some of those numbers. In terms of more than that, I'll have to look into it with JR. Oh, the other category is the system does a very good job of matching addresses, but it doesn't quite get all of them. There are some properties that we just are not going to be able to tell what the addresses are. The system is constantly looking at them, trying to find an address for them, but that's going to be part of that number too. I don't want to say that it's hundreds of properties that fall under that category, but you've got probably 20 properties maybe that fit in there, I would guess. You've got the properties that are in the enforcement actions, and then you've also got the properties that are new and have not gotten with the program yet. So I think all of those kind of add up to a chunk.
I was just sort of curious because it seemed like it was out of control when you have 500 plus that are non-conforming. We're seeing a considerable amount, 280 of approved permits, which I think is significant, but are we getting a handle on the issue, or, are things getting better, or?
I think they are. And the reason why I say that is just based on anecdotally in that we're not hearing complaints about short-term rentals and the way that they're operating. We're not seeing it in the media. We're also not receiving a lot of complaints here in our office. And we've not received communications from the police department about problematic short-term rentals. So I think things are getting better. And we've gotten, with the licensing and the zoning, it's given the neighbors more of an opportunity to provide input and feedback about whether or not they're appropriate. So I think the processes we've got in place have seemed to be a pretty good fit so far.
Well, we'll see. After this thing's been in the process for a year or so, we'll probably have a better handle on it. Commissioner McKay?
Scott, on the subject we're talking about, are we having any problems with, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, an organization, company, whatever, that has people coming and going constantly? Like let me give you an example, St. Francis or the hospital. They'll have nurses coming in for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And they provide them with a place to live. Does that be classified as short-term rentals?
It would if the duration of the stay is less than 30 days, then it would be. And so we did hear about that. There was a zoning case where there was a construction company that would have people come in and they would stay in a house. It was a group of them, multiple folks from this company that would stay in a house for a period of time, and then they would go off and then eventually come back at some point. So we have seen that. Is it created issues? I'd say not as far as we've received any reports on.
Well, I can see where the hospitals having nurses, people coming in from out of town.
Yeah.
To stay for, a period of time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think they would have to qualify for this because the contract is more.
Yeah, we don't really look into their occupation or anything else. It's just really about how many days is the property being offered. And they can certainly rent it for more than that, but if they're offering it for less than 30 days, then it qualifies as a short-term rental. I believe what we've heard also anecdotally is that hospitals do make a good location for short-term rentals because of the number of people who are visiting, and also in your case, as you cited, the employees that are there for a period of time. But in terms of the geography, it's been kind of interesting to look at the maps and see where there's clustering. We're more than happy to bring back the maps if you all would like to add it as a future agenda item. We can kind of look and see where they are.
Well, it's not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, so far, we're just not seeing a lot of complaints on it, so, yeah.
Okay, if there's no additional comments or any questions from the commission, I'm going to open this up to the public. Is there anybody in the public that wants to make any comments, or has all your questions and concerns been answered? Okay, seeing none, we will go over to other business. Commissioner McKay?
This has to do with conditional uses. I guess I need to ask what the guidelines are for conditional uses. I thought I knew what it was, but I guess I really don't. Because in the last month and a half to 2 months, we've probably approved over 300 acres of conditional use land. And I have a concern about, and what kind of really brought it to a point was it last week or 2 weeks ago where the people came in, all they want to do is put a little addition on the front of their house. And we give them 78 acres of conditional use. And I'm having a problem with that. I know the people in the development community will kill me when they hear me saying this, but I'm having a problem because I can see where it could get really, because it doesn't go with the land?
It does, yes, sir.
Is there any restrictions on I guess if I've got a place and I want to put a house for my granddaughter or something like to that point, I can get a conditional use, but I have to to build it, I have to get a permit. And I'll have to have a drawing of where it's going to be and all this thing. Is that any requirement for conditional uses?
Yes, commonly, it's a common condition to require a site plan that would be submitted with that. They always have the option of bringing back a revised site plan, and then it would go through a review process, which is typically done administratively. It's not typically something that comes to the MAPC. In terms of the concern of, and we have seen this with larger developments, especially when it comes to accessory apartments, we've seen a piece of property before it's subdivided get, and it's not common that this happens, but we have seen this occur where a large property gets a conditional use that allows for accessory apartments, and then it gets subdivided. And so then you end up with 70, 100 lots that all have the ability to have an accessory apartment with them.
Well, and that's where, to echo Commissioner McKay, that's where my concerns, I brought up to you yesterday when we were having a review. Should we look at a possibility of limiting or putting limits on the acreage, for example? Especially, again, this guy come in, had a little over, 3.14 acres or so, and on a 76-acre property that, now that conditional use stays with that whole thing just over that little over 3 acres. So should we look at, maybe anything over conditional uses up to let's say 20 acres, anything over 20 acres, for example, then you have to, there's a whole different platting process or whatever that you have to go through, because it does stay with the land. And we're seeing so much of this right now out in the county, really all over, but it's my concerns, what do we do? I guess, do we need to reel this thing in a little bit, or?
I think there's probably two different ways that it could be addressed. One would be to add an additional condition or restriction as part of it. So I'm sorry, one of the broad categories is addressing it at the time that cases come up to the MAPC, right? You could add a condition, you could make a motion, you could do all kinds of different things with that conditional use. Another way of addressing it would be to put language into the comprehensive plan that provides guidance for staff when we make a recommendation on a conditional use to you. So if you have a concern about the size of the acreage, maybe you specify a certain amount of acres that conditional uses are not recommended for properties larger than, whatever it is, 20 acres or whatever you pick. And then if that's in the comprehensive plan, then we use that as guidance when we're evaluating a case. And then we can say, if someone comes in with a 70-acre piece of property, we say, you know what, our guidance says that we shouldn't be recommending approval of a conditional use on such a large property. Do you have a smaller section of your property that you would really like to have this on?
We've had chat about having conditional use of accessory apartments by administrative adjustment. Now the flags are flying a little bit when we have this size of acreage. I think there needs to be possibly some controls on that too, because of once that's done, now it stays with that property. So.
Well, to me, an accessory apartment is accessory to the existing property that's there. So if let's say you make a requirement that they got to come in with a design where it's going to be at, that's what's going to go through to change it. Well, I've got a house over here on this piece of ground, and 20 acres away, I'm going to put an accessory apartment. That's kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you can control that at all, but I can see us in the future as the city grows, some of these conditional uses on this acreage stuff, we're going to, because you got to stay within the limits of the county. You don't have to even go to plat the property.
It will be interesting. One of the ways that you can control where the accessory apartment is located is based on the utilities. And we saw that with that case that came up a couple weeks ago. In that case, they had asked for separate utilities because they intended to put the accessory apartment so far away from the primary structure. So by requiring them to share the same utilities, you're going to get them within a certain distance. They're not going to want to run ladder lines and whatnot all that way. That would be one way. The second thing would be you could add a condition which is to the effect of inherently somehow to say that this is only intended for one accessory apartment for this entire 70 acres, regardless of if it's divided or split. That would be another way to do it.
Well, you can do it that way, but that also then goes against what our county rules, our own acreage for like MF20 and 5-acre pieces and that situation.
Maybe what we could do is include this as part of the conversation, because I believe that there's another item that we're going to bring forward to you, which is to talk about the process for approvals of accessory apartments. Number one, how many have we had this year, last year? What are we looking at in terms of the number of accessory apartments? How do accessory apartments fit into the larger conversation of housing and development in and around Wichita and Sedgwick County? And then also, then that would be an opportunity to talk about the process and these conditional uses and kind of what's the best fit for the community.
One of the present conditions was to keep a guy from buying 50 acres of ground. There's an old house on it. He's not going to live in it. He's going to build a new house, but he comes in to get a conditional use.
Yeah, you can. We've seen that before where there's a smaller home that's on the property. The property owner, new one, buys the property, gets a conditional use to have an accessory apartment, and then builds a larger home on the property, and the existing home becomes the accessory apartment. We have seen that. I think we had a case down in Derby where that recently happened.
So that was just a concern that I had, and I read it to Bob, and I was concerned about it. I don't dare talk to people in development.
Well, I appreciate that your service, all of you on the committee, and the fact that you think about kind of the long-term implications of the cases that you're evaluating, and also you're looking at the larger kind of what's the policy framework that we're using to evaluate these. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Well, if there's no additional other matters, one thing I would like to do, and I don't know if you can have it by our next meeting, which, by the way, is October the 9th. Could you have any update information regarding land banks?
Yeah, what we can do, sir, is we'll reach out to the Housing and Community Services Department and see if they'd be willing to do a 15-minute presentation on the status.
Okay, and maybe we can get that on the agenda for the next, or when we can get it, when you can fit it in. You know, I should say, it didn't necessarily have to be on the next agenda, but when you can get it in there.
Certainly.
Any additional matters need to come up? If not, I think we're done. And again, our next meeting will be Thursday, October the 9th, 10 a.m. Hope to see, we had such a great turnout. Hope to see everybody back.
Just need to get something more controversial on the agenda.
Yeah, we are adjourned.